We came off tow at about 6,000 feet, 2,500 feet above the airfield, and the goal is to get to La Seu d'Urgell, which is about 50 kilometers west. So we're heading west now, pointing at the Cadi Ridge of mountains that runs down the south side of the valley. The south is to our left, the north is to our right, and La Seu is probably under the right-hand clouds that we can see in the distance. The Cadi peak ahead is above us. It's about 500 foot higher than we are, and so plan A is to climb up the ridge if the mountain gods are willing, and plan B would be to escape down the side of the ridge to the right. Amazing. So the gods are willing and have permitted us to climb a bit. So we are over the ridge now, and relying on climbing up it or turning right to skirt around it. As things stand, we're just descending. If the meter to the right of my hand is the variometer, and the little orange lights that you can see at the moment, which just went out and turned blue, is a nice thing. Blue means we celebrate, orange means we get anxious. So they're orange again, and the peak is still ahead of us and it's still higher than we are. It's not an issue, but it would be fun to be able to go over the peak rather than around it. So how is it looking? The light has turned blue, and we are at 9,500 feet, which is almost the height of the peak ahead. If I follow this ridge, there's a chance that we continue to climb. I also have a tendency to try to avoid the shadows. So we've got a shadow in the bowl coming up just to the right below the nose, and that's something that might produce downdrafts. Extraordinary. Extraordinary. It's almost impossible to explain what's happening here and why we're climbing so well along this ridge. The weather forecast predicted a change in the winds from easterly to westerly at around mid-afternoon, around this time. What has actually happened, or what I'm experiencing up here, one second. Yeah, what I'm experiencing up here is a southerly wind, and it's very, very light, less than about 5 miles an hour. So it isn't enough wind to be creating ridge lift in the normal sense. But there's no question about it. We have enough lift to keep us on top of this mountain. So the only explanation that makes any sense is that the sunward facing slopes are producing thermals, not in the sense of columns of air that climb into the atmosphere and create clouds, but just a cushion of rising air that's gently rising in some places and descending in others. Ahead of us is La Seu d'Urgell, and to the right slightly is Andorra, the city of Andorra. Right underneath the nose is the airport of La Seu d'Urgell, and to the right slightly is the town of La Seu. Crossing the valley and coming away from the mountains has cost us some height. I'm kind of tempted to go to the north side and travel back across the northern mountains. But we're losing more height. We're down to 8,000 feet from 10. The mountain tops are between 9 and 10,000 feet. I did find some thermals in the valley, and we might be able to recover some of our height if we return across the valley and go back up to the peaks of the Cadi. It's a bit of a gamble. If we arrive too low, then we will be in the shadow of the sun shadow on the mountain faces. Let's try. So we're not quite high enough, are we? We've got 8,200 feet. We've got a 9,000 foot peak ahead of us, and the overall trend on the averager is down. So that peak is climbing ahead of us, and I think we're going to have to go for plan B, which will be to skirt around the peak to the left, to the north side. So we're now heading east. The south is to the right. Slight wind coming from the south, very, very slight. And the north is to the left. And we're not high enough to get over this ridge here. So let's see what happens if we just follow it. Now with the wind, such as it is, coming from the right-hand side, there is always the possibility that it will spill over the top of the ridge, causing downdrafts. I'm liking the sunny hillside, or mountainside, but where there's shadow, I'm a little more cautious. So you notice just ahead of the nose, 100 feet or so, is a bowl that's in shade, and if we watch the averager, we're likely to find sink there. No, we're climbing. How nice it is to be wrong. Excellent. Excellent. Another shaded bowl, but we're climbing like gangbusters, and down we go, but it's temporary. Another shaded bowl coming up. Doing okay. We've gained about 200 feet and haven't lost anything, which is nice. And now we are coming up above the ridge. If I can get over it, we might get even better performance. Oh yes, very nice. So the ridge ahead is still above us, but if the mountain gods agree, we might be able to get over it. This is unbelievable. Just brilliant. Just brilliant. Not bad at all. Such a privilege. By the way, the flatter slopes on the right-hand side, I don't like those very much. I wouldn't like to get caught low over a plateau or those shallow slopes, because if I lost height on the south side of this mountain, it would be difficult to get, well, over the mountain to return to base, which is basically slightly left of the nose right now, about 10 kilometers, 20 kilometers to go. Yeah, 20 kilometers. Amazing. Completely unexplained. Well, almost unexplained. Yeah. The sun is working on the slopes. That's the best I can say. (9,100 feet we have. Which is enough to extend this little trip all the way to the east. And I think I'm going to do that. Unfortunately, I can't take you with me because the camera is beeping at me to say that the battery is running out. But it's been great having you along for the ride. Thank you.